I get it, there's a ton of UPS listings that promise uninterrupted power and clean sine wave, but when the power flickers during a storm you end up with a dead battery, a blinking LCD, and a pricey unit that never actually protected anything. You're probably hesitating because you've seen a dozen best-of videos, read glossy specs, and still feel unsure if you'll waste money on something that sounds great on paper but falls flat when you need it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a week digging through forums, watching unboxing videos, and even talking to a few small business owners who run their networking gear off a UPS, so let's see if the CyberPower PR2200RT2U actually lives up to the hype or if it's another shelf decor item. First off, let's talk about the category itself. A UPS in the 2200 VA range sits at the sweet spot between the cheap 600 VA units you'd use for a single desktop and the massive 5000 VA rack mounts that power entire data centers. What you're really buying is two things: a battery that can keep your equipment alive long enough to shut down safely, and a power conditioner that smooths out those annoying voltage sags that can corrupt hard drives. The PR2200RT2U ticks both boxes on paper with its Sinewave output and automatic voltage regulation (AVR), which means it doesn't just switch to battery the moment the line drops, it also corrects minor brownouts so your devices stay in the green zone. Now, who should actually consider this unit? If you run a home office with a decent desktop, a couple of monitors, a router, and maybe an external NS, the PR2200RT2U gives you plenty of headroom. 8 NEMA 520R outlets mean you can plug everything from a gaming PC that draws 400W under load to a UPS-backed Wi-Fi access point without needing power strips. The fact that the UPS is both rack-mountable, 2U, and tiltable as a tower gives you flexibility. A server rack in the basement? Slip it in the rack and you're good. A small desk setup? Tilt it back and the LCD panel stays readable without hogging precious desk space. On the flip side, if you're just protecting a single laptop or a modest router, you're probably overpaying. A 2200 VA unit costs significantly more than a 1000 VA model, and the extra capacity translates into longer runtimes only when you actually load it near its maximum. For low-power gear, you'll see maybe 5 minutes of backup at best, which is overkill if you simply need a few seconds to keep a Wi-Fi router alive. In that scenario, you'd be better off with a smaller, less expensive UPS that still offers AVR. Let's break down the practical strengths that matter after you plug the unit in. The first thing I noticed in the videos is the tiltable LCD panel. Most UPSs lock the display in a fixed position, which can be a pain when the unit is rack mount and you have to crane your neck to read battery charge or load percentages. CyberPower's panel rotates, so you can see real-time data from the front of a rack or from a desk without awkward angles. The display isn't just a readout, it actually shows load percentage, estimated runtime, and alerts when the battery is aging, which is useful if you're the type who likes to schedule a battery replacement before it fails. The second strength is the smart app integration. Using CyberPower's Power Panel app on your phone or PC, you can set custom shutdown scripts for your computer, receive email alerts when the UPS switches to battery, and even monitor battery health remotely. For a small business owner who can't be at the server room every time the power wiggles, that remote visibility is a real time saver. I saw a small IT firm use the app to automatically shut down their virtualization host during a prolonged outage, preventing any corrupted VM snapshots. Automatic voltage regulation is another practical win. Many cheap UPSs simply act as a battery backup. When the line voltage dips below a threshold, they switch to battery, and when it climbs back, they switch again. That frequent switching can wear out the battery faster. The PR2200RT2U's AVR smooths out those dips and spikes, keeping the output within a tight voltage band without ever touching the battery. In a suburban neighborhood where you get occasional brownouts due to construction, that means the UPS stays on utility power and saves its battery for true outages. Now, let's get honest about the weaknesses you'll feel once the unit sits in your rack. First, size and weight. At 2U it's a full-height rack unit, and the battery pack adds a respectable heft. If you're in a cramped home office without a proper rack, you'll need a sturdy shelf that can handle the weight, or you'll have to compromise on desk space. The unit also generates a low hum when the battery is charging, which is normal but noticeable if your rack sits in a quiet workspace. It's not a deafening noise, but it's something to be aware of if you're sensitive to background sounds.